Welcome to Braille, When, Why, and How, Part 3. Any examples provided are fictional to assist in the decision-making process. Each student is unique, and instruction should be tailored to meet the needs of each individual student. Not all possible examples have been provided, but most students should fit mostly into one category or another. The Literacy Rights and Education Act for the Visually Impaired was discussed previously. Public Law 105-17 discusses a specific provision about Braille instruction for the visually impaired students. The Braille provision, as it is sometimes called, was added when the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, was reauthorized in 1997 and was continued in the 2004 reauthorization. All visual impairment eligible students are required to be taught Braille unless you have evidence of why Braille is not needed. In Part 1 and 2, we discussed how to determine when Braille was needed through the LMA and how to document special factors in the IEP. In Part 3, we will discuss the instructional strategies for teaching Braille. There are commercial resources available to teachers when instructing in Braille. The curriculum that you can use is Touch and Tell from APH. It includes volumes 1 and 2 that introduce embossed hands and geometric forms, while volume 3 introduces the Braille dots. Mangold Basic Braille, formerly known as the Mangold Developmental Program of Tactile Perception and Braille Letter Recognition, will help beginning Braille readers of all ages and will also help experienced readers who demonstrate scrubbing, backtracking, and Braille letter or number reversal errors. Patterns is also available from APH, and it addresses specific skill areas needed by children who are visually impaired, such as language development, sound discrimination, tactile discrimination, and hands-on concept development. Braille Fundamentals is a comprehensive program for teaching the Braille code and is offered in 4 levels: primary, upper elementary, middle school, and high school. Checklists and data collections are also available as a commercial resource. The ECC, or Expanded Core Curriculum, is the document as a compilation of resources for both evaluation and instruction in all areas of the Expanded Core Curriculum. It's divided into sections for each of the 9 areas. Each ECC section has a set of charts that includes evaluation tools, instructional materials, and general information. The Oregon project is also available for the preschool age for pre-Braille skills. The link is included on the site above. Evals, or Evaluating Visually Impaired Students, is available through the Texas School for the Blind and Visually Impaired. It will assist the TVI in conducting appropriate evaluations, student-specific needs related to accessing the general curriculum, as well as the areas identified in the Expanded Core Curriculum, can be identified through checklists, interviews, and observations. ABLS, or Assessment of Braille Literacy Skills, features the 4 guiding principles of a meaningful assessment of Braille literacy skills and provides educators a tool to document students' strengths and weaknesses in Braille skills. There are also professional instructional books available. Some of those are the Instructional Strategies for Braille Literacy, Beginning with Braille, or I Am Able. The most common instructional approach to teaching Braille is using dots within the Braille cell. Understand that the dots of the cell and the position that they have to each other. You can introduce the swing cell, and the dot numbers and the layout of the cell for reading. As you teach a letter, also teach the dots. Some teachers choose to use a holistic approach, in which they learn the shape representing a particular letter or contraction. They also use spatial and positional concepts to teach a variety of words. Flashcards of words that the student will need to know are often used within this instructional approach. The following are example scenarios that you might find as part of the curriculum for a 3-year-old pre-Braille student. When Braille writing, you can introduce the parts of the Brailler. Use hand under hand to practice pressing the keys. Scribble writing and allow the student to write stories about things that interest them using the Braille writer. When Braille reading, you can use experience books, book boxes and bags, reading tactile books, and tracking lines through the Touch and Tell curriculum. Introducing tactile awareness can include texture discrimination, size, shape, and sorting. You can also introduce positional concepts such as up, down, left, right, under, and over. A Braille curriculum for a kindergarten student may include, for Braille writing, letters and whole word contractions, contractions as seen in the curriculum of their regular education classroom, basic sentence writing, punctuation symbols as seen in the same curriculum of their general education classroom. Braille reading may include symbol discrimination, letters and whole word contractions, contractions as seen in their curriculum, punctuation symbols as seen in their curriculum, and basic sentences. Nemeth instruction could include numbers, and instruction should be ongoing as the skills change. An example curriculum for a general education student could include using auditory for classroom instruction while learning Braille, Pre-Braille to teach the use of tactile skills as needed, reading stories while student explores the copy in Braille. Try to pace yourself so that the student can feel those words as you read them. Teach the Braille cell and the Braille writer. Begin teaching the Braille code and use the desired curriculum that you chose. Create your own books and sentences using what has been learned, and may teach using flashcards to introduce letter contractions as needed. An example curriculum for a child with a progressive condition will be much more intense and more often. Things that you should consider is how progressive is the condition. How fast does the student need to learn to use the Braille as their primary medium? Is it a slow progression that will impact in adulthood? If so, you can teach as a secondary medium. You may not need to incorporate it into the classroom assignments. May use visual representation to assist in memorizing the code. Must address using tactile skills and assistive technology. Is it a slow progression with a possible retinal detachment? Instruct them as a dual reader. And you must address both the vision and the tactile needs. Is it print with Braille or Braille with print? Which items will be print and which items will be Braille? Modify large print items with tactile components. If the progressive condition will be a quick progression, which means that acuity has reduced over time, they have central field loss, and it will impact during school years, then you will need to incorporate the Braille into the classroom as soon as possible. Teach the whole word alphabet. Teach numbers, literary, and Nemeth. Allow use of uncontracted Braille while student is learning the contractions. Expose the student to contractions in reading or the environment before formal lessons. For items already taught, send home short and easy practice items as homework. As I said before, this will be much more intense and more often of a progressive condition. An example curriculum for a student who is multiply impaired or going to learn functional Braille. As the teacher, we need to meet them where they are in their learning and maintain high expectations and continue the use of repetition while instructing them in their Braille. The pre-Braille stage may last longer than what we are used to. Teach Braille in a functional way. Ask yourself, how will Braille benefit this child in the real world? How independent are they, or will they become? Keep your expectations high. Will you be teaching them to read or exposing them to tactile experiences? Make sure all service providers are involved in supporting Braille in their instruction also. Work with classroom teacher to ensure activities and instruction is meaning-centered. Use creative and out-of-the-box approaches to teaching Braille, such as from the learning resource I Am Able.